Celia Barnes glances up at the security camera pointing down at the door, waits a second for the face recognition software to verify who she is, then opens a small teak hatch set into the concrete wall by the door. A keypad lights up inside next to a square sensor, and she squints at the sequence she wrote on her hand. The code is long and complex, a mixture of symbols, numbers, and letters that gets changed regularly and texted to her by Mike, the owner of the house. She only has 30 seconds before the alarm goes off, so writes the code on her hand before leaving her flat in big biro letters, so she doesn't have to fumble for her phone or her glasses and waste precious time. On her second day cleaning for the Millers, she had got the code wrong, or possibly taken too long, or maybe both, and had set the damn thing off. The noise was unbelievable, an ear-splitting siren shriek that ripped through the house and brought the police hammering on the door in under 2 minutes. 2 minutes! When her own flat had been burgled just before Christmas, it had taken more than 2 hours for anyone to show up, and even then it had only been a PCSO, one of those police community support officers her Derek called plastic coppers. But then she lived in a 2-bed ex-council flat in Archway, not some architect-designed Highgate mansion worth 3 or 4 million quid, or whatever it was. When she first got the job here, Celia had tried to find out. She does it with all the houses she cleans, takes a guess at how much the house is worth, then pops the address into Rightmove to check the sold prices on the street. She's actually got pretty good at it. So much so that her Derek says she should jack in the cleaning and go work for one of those upmarket estate agents, doing valuations and driving around in one of those fancy little electric BMW jobs. Celia loves that he thinks she could do a job like that, loves what it reveals about the way he sees her, but she knows she could never do it. They'd never hire her for a job like that. She's not enough, not young enough, confident enough, or posh enough. She's also only good at guessing the prices of houses that are similar to others. She never has a clue how much the quirky one-offs are worth, the modern mansions that look more like offices than homes. There is no record of how much the Miller house sold for example, not on Rightmove or Zoopla or any of the other property sites she regularly uses. There is no other house like the Miller house on this street, or in the whole of Highgate, come to that. So she has no idea how much it's worth other than a lot. And that's not going to get her a job in a swanky estate agent now, is it? Celia's hand trembles slightly as she taps in the last few digits of the code, her anxiety levels closer to those of someone deactivating a bomb than switching off a house alarm. This is another reason she could never work for a posh estate agent. All those different alarms to deal with, all the different codes, all the people, all the stress. Give her a good audiobook, an empty house, a Hoover, and a bucket of bleach any day of the week. She's perfectly happy with her little lot. Her Derek's got his bit of disability pension from the railways. They paid their mortgage off on the flat last year, and her cleaning brings in enough each week to keep them nice and comfy. She's more than happy. She enters the code, then presses her thumb to the square sensor. The beeping falls mercifully silent. Celia Barnes lets out a long breath she didn't know she'd been holding and shrugs off her coat as she makes her way across the white resin floor to the twisted staircase, listening out for any signs of life. Just because the alarm was on doesn't mean there's no one at home. She'd found this out the hard way once, when she'd burst in on Mike one morning, working out in the mini gym off the master bedroom. He'd had his earphones in, so hadn't heard her, and was wearing gym shorts and nothing else. And my, but what a sight that had been. Celia had stood there, frozen to the spot, mesmerized by the way his muscles moved beneath his smooth, tan skin as he lifted the weights and studied himself in the floor-to-ceiling mirror. He'd looked like one of those men in the celebrity magazines she'd flicked through at the hairdressers, those cartoonish men with perfect, tan skin and knots of muscles in their stomachs that looked like they'd been painted on. Except Mike Miller was real. There he'd been, right in front of her, in the flesh.